Lads, it's time for hockey. Finally, the third round begins today.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with
That's a couple
myself
hours.
last night.
Because there's
No
no
hockey.
hockey on a Saturday night.
Yes. My apologies. I think a truck is backing up.
That sounds like a garbage truck.
That truck is not being considerate.
Memories of Adam and Pickering
and their motorcycles.
Yeah.
and motorcycles.
Never forget.
I would like to forget. Anyway,
But things are opening up soon, so hopefully when we're all fully vaccinated, we could enjoy bourbon chicken at Pickering Town Center.
That's just here. Everything's open in Quebec.
yeah, we're doing fine in Montreal. We've been
Yeah.
able to go indoors and eat at restaurants.
They have bourbon chicken there,
Maybe.
but not the same as your Pickering one.
I mean, I'm sure it tastes the same because it's like, it's all the same process.
What? You used to say, no, it's distinct. I remember when you're like, oh, I could really go for some bourbon chicken one time when we were leaving class. Yeah. And I'm like, why don't you just pick it up at Eden Center? And he's like, you're like, no, they make it a certain way at Pickering Town Center.
You sure it did?
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't think I did because before COVID shut everything down, I remember going to a lecture, going to the Eden Center, getting said bourbon chicken, going to my lecture and enjoying it during it. So I feel like we're misremembering some stuff here. It may be a different restaurant that we're thinking of. Anyway, though.
KFC.
No, it wouldn't be would not be KFC. Right, though. We should probably talk about hockey now. What's with the scheduling of the third round, by the way? We've waited a few days now. I was telling Alex before we recorded, like being a Habs fan, right? And you watched so far, your team is the only one that's played 2 different back-to-backs. So we can speed up the schedule because you rushed the end of the season so much and then gave the layoff before the season started. And now we have to wait to start the third goddamn. How do you not have a hockey game on Saturday night?
Yeah, that was weird to me. I kind of felt that, when you're rushing to get things done and then you probably get an outside perspective like, wait a minute, maybe I should slow this down a bit. And then they just didn't know what to do with the scheduling. And then it was still another rush that's just like, okay, let's give them a break. And then it ends up you miss a Saturday, a prime time.
I hate this league. Players probably would prefer to keep going too. Like you looked at some teams that have come off of like longer series and that, everyone was like, the Jets are going to be great because they rested, and then they weren't. It's just, I feel like teams would much prefer, like, let's just keep this going, right? You want to keep on that momentum. Like the Islanders, they're playing Tampa Bay. We'll preview that a little later. Montreal and Vegas, that's going to be fun. Let's start with Montreal, Vegas. Why not?
Okay,
sure.
Familiar territory for the Habs. They are the considerable underdog. I'm pretty sure that Vegas have them as in the betting people. I think their chances of winning is less than 20% in this series. Which, whatever. I mean, that's been Montreal every series. I don't really mind here. But the big story here, guys, even though Nick Suzuki, I don't think he ever played a game for the Vegas Golden Knights, it's the story of the Nick Suzuki from Max Pacioretty trade. Oh, and Thomas Tatar was in there too. I'm excited for this one, guys. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited for this series.
I'd be more concerned if you weren't excited. I expect you should be. But yeah, it is. I think either way you look at it, whether it was Colorado or whether it was Vegas, it was going to be some type of storyline, and it was going to be exciting either way, because I think this is the first time, I think, for Montreal that they're going to be playing in a building that is full capacity. And I know they've been playing with 2,500 people, but if you watch the games in Montreal and then go watch a game from Vegas or Tampa Bay or wherever that has full capacity, it is a different, it's a different level. And I think it'll be a positive for both teams. Like the fact that we've seen it, go look at Florida and Tampa Bay. That series was fueled by the fans, in my opinion. And I think the same goes here.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think a big thing we've talked about is, that unknown factor with Montreal going into the series, or even Vegas, that they're facing a team now that they haven't seen all year. They haven't seen it in over 12 months. And to get that in the playoffs is pretty great, especially if it's not the final. So I'm really excited to see that. one thing too is what Adam said before, the narratives of things that I really like. Those little narratives where we always talk about Vegas and that center depth, and they managed to kind of get around it here and there, but it just meant, oh boy, like Nick Suzuki, the way he's developed. They picked Cody Glass over him. I think like a second thing too is just the way Vegas is kind of built. It's gonna complement things away, because like we think about like the Phil Deneau line, and then we think about the Mark Stone line, and it just kind of something where I'm like, it's either gonna be a high scoring game or it's gonna be like a 2-1, 1-0 game.
If it's a high scoring game, I don't think Montreal are gonna win those games. They still haven't lost, by the way, since the first round, which is so freaking weird to think of. Beside the Pacioretty stuff, what I'm really looking at is like each individual story of we see two incredible Selke candidates every year with Mark Stone and Philip Deneau. We're going to see, I would say, like the two premier goal scorers still left in the playoffs. That's like in a normal year too, you can kind of say with Tyler Toffoli and Max Pacioretty. The goalie duel of Fleury versus it's really funny if you look at the Canadiens' run so far. There's been a great goalie duel every round. Campbell, great. Hellebuck was the only good Winnipeg Jet. And then here, Marc-Andre Fleury, who has looked a bit more human in the last few games. Yeah, but in Game 4 versus the Jets, so did Carey Price. So, and we all know the magic that Marc-Andre Fleury is capable of. There's a lot of really fun matchups to look at. Now, like the play style itself, I think if you're Montreal, you prefer Vegas because I'm not saying they're a slow team by any stretch of the means, but the way Colorado and how quickly they move the puck from one end to the other, I think would have been a real hassle for Montreal to handle. But in the same time, though, I'm going to just crush you with my mountain men of defensive core. It's not going to be as easy to do against Vegas, a.k.a. hi there, Alex Pietrangelo. And I'm not mentioning Ryan Reeves because I don't think, whatever, he's not a real factor. Not to me. I refuse to acknowledge it. But a very different team compared to what Montreal have played so far in the first two rounds.
Yeah, I think you brought up the defense there, and I know against the later games against Toronto, they really use their top four, and I feel like Vegas does the same thing in that they have a really good Pietrangelo, Theodore, Martinez, and Braden McNabb, and they're just going those 8 guys in the top 4 in Montreal and the top 4 in Vegas are just going to be used the entire time. And I think that's another similarity as well.
Mm-hmm. I do actually want to, I wasn't going to mention Ryan Reeves, but you know what? A battle you can also look for is Josh Anderson and Reeves too.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry?
I was just going to say they're not going to be on the ice at the same time. So
what do you mean?
Well, the whole argument with Ryan Reeves is that unless there's specific line matching, Josh Anderson is going to play in the top 6. Ryan Reeves is going to play on the 4th line. They say the same thing about Tom Wilson. The reason that it's hard to find an answer for Tom Wilson is that you're not playing Ryan Reeves in your top 6 unless you're line matching your 4th line with their first line. That doesn't work out well.
So it's like Ryan Reeves versus the washing machine line. I was gonna say the laundry line. Sorry.
Here's the thing, though. Corey Perry can actually score.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the thing with Corey Perry is he doesn't punch you in the face, but like he falls on your goalie. Like Corey Perry is as much as Ryan Reeves is the sort of tough guy. Corey Perry is just a rat, and he's a rat that I love, obviously, but. I've always, again, like I've never understood this whole thing with Ryan Reeves. I seriously, I will never understand it. And you know what's really funny too is Corey Perry. I just kind of realized he has a number on Vegas because him and the Stars beat them last year.
Yeah.
If anyone has the key to sort of go after them, I think it would be. So as much as Ryan Reeves is a factor, Dallas proved that Corey Perry was just as much as one against them last year. Now, I did not watch that series because I was drugged up on morphine for my jaw surgery, so I don't exactly remember what happened in it. But hey, Corey Perry, what was the joke going around? Of the Final 4, 3 of them are the same as last year, and then Corey Perry's team?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you saying, this is a hot take,
Yeah.
Corey Perry is Montreal's Gandalf? He's their guide
He's
to the
I think
playoffs.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he's the most
okay.
experienced like playoff guy on the team. Even
He
more.
burned the Jets. Yeah, 2017.
Yeah. Well, he won the cup.
Yeah.
And even more than Eric Stahl, because Stahl won the cup too, but he's also I don't know the exact games played in the playoffs, but I feel like Perry's had a lot more deeper runs than Eric Stahl did.
Yeah, Stahl, like, he won the cup, and then they didn't make the playoffs for a few years. And then he got traded.
Still there though, like you still
Yeah.
have that experience, and some guys on the back end like Edmondson we know has been there, but as a major contributor, maybe.
Mhm.
God, this is going to be a real fun one. Right. Also, Thomas Tatar. A lot of people are talking about that revenge tour, and I see it here on the dock. I don't think he's going to play. Like this
Unfortunate.
is of those who will not play Thomas. One of the many Czech Thomases in the playoffs.
I wanted to see him play because, like, the way I just laughed because remember when Vegas got him at the deadline for like a first, a second, and a third that became like Joe Valeno, and then he didn't play, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna trade you now, and then he just did so well in Montreal, and I wanted to. It's the perfect situation for him to get back out there and said, I wasn't just a throw-in.
Yeah, but then how do you who does he take out?
I don't know. That's the thing.
Like, I don't trust him. Again, like you want Tatar, for the chemistry on the Dano line, but then again, like Lekkonen's been so good. If Evans can draw back in, you put him in before him, I'd say. And like where else? You're not going to break up Caulfield to Foley Suzuki. That's been wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to take out one of Anderson or Paul Byron? No, they've been good.
You go with 13 forwards.
No, you don't. No, Gustafson's earned some more games though.
Yeah, he's been a lot better. I was kind of iffy on him, but he's done okay.
He's been good, man. He's a solid. Listen, he's got the power play to get better, which was exactly his job at the deadline. Who knows if Victor Mete could have done that already if he developed him, but we'll never know about that. Montreal, Tampa.
You never know. Waivers, the waiver wire might come up again.
I doubt it. I think they're gonna. No, I think Victor Mete is a mainstay there from now on. And he was good in that stint with Ottawa. Good for them and good for him. Doesn't have to go far either for Montreal too, so that will be. I mean, he's from Toronto, so now he's right in the middle of it.
Exactly.
I mean, of all three of those teams, that's the last one you kind of like to play for.
Ooh.
However,
Ouch.
I will ask for your series predictions here. Will you guys go with the underdog Habs, or will you go with the cockiest team fan base in the league in the Vegas Golden Knights? I'm not disparaging that, by the way. I like a confident group. I think that's very much the identity of that franchise right now.
I'm going to go with Vegas in 6.
Daniel.
Montreal in 7.
Really?
I am a believer.
I mean, I refuse to count out the team I cheer for. That's not going to happen. And
Yeah, that would be a good look.
No, that, and they've upset everyone along. ESPN, they had their new predictions. 2 people had Montreal. So, I mean,
Well, double from before we saw.
Yeah, they're gaining followers. Oh, you gotta love talking about every series, and it's just like, oh yeah, Montreal are here too. I was listening to 31 Thoughts, and they were talking about Brad Larson taking over in Columbus, and they were saying, yeah, so assistant coaches taking over normally never works. And they completely ignored the replacement assistant coach who has just brought the Canadian team to the Final Four. And I was like, okay, guess we're just going to ignore that for the sake of the narrative. Anyway, we'll look at the other rematch. And this is exactly one from last year. It's Tampa and it's New York, the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. Now, last year, Tampa did win in 6. You remember, I was looking back on that series. Man, game 1, the Islanders got dummy 8-2. Though the last 2 games of those were in overtime. There's another 1-goal game in there. And I think the Islanders are better this year, especially Palmieri and that have been so good. And you got to remember, by the way, that everything the Islanders are doing right now without their captain. It's super impressive. Barry Trotz, man. If Varlamov can stop letting in that 1 weird goal per game, I don't think they're going to win. I'm going to say Tampa are going to do this in 7. But man, the Islanders, if they won at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised because it's the Islanders. It's Big Barry Trotz. It's the Eggman. You can't count them out.
Humpty Dumpty. Sorry.
No. Professor
Sorry.
Eggman from
Sorry.
Sonic.
No, I know. I know. I'm just, he reminds me of his face, whatever. I also have Tampa Bay in 7. I think Tampa Bay is so much like they're levels above the competition that it's like scary.
It is fair. They don't look human at some point.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Where when you look at it, it's like it is a grizzled veteran team that has made it, has gone all the way, has gone through so many highs and lows, and yet like every year they still are able to, keep on replenishing the talent, keep on looking for places where they have different contributors, and they're just so solid everywhere. And I don't know, like I have a feeling Tampa might pull off a back-to-back, but I'm not sure yet because I never want to count out the Islanders anymore, even though I have for so long. Like the one thing is we joked around before where it's like Lou Lamoriello talked about, we were really on the Taylor Hall talks, but when Todd Fitzgerald offered Travis Zajac in the trade with Kyle Palmieri, I had to take it, and then they're like, okay, yeah, sure, but it works so well. Like Andy Green is still playing consistently. Travis Zajac has somehow rediscovered his two-way play and his face-offs. It's just, I don't know how he does it. Like he just brings in these guys, and then they assimilate to the system, and that's the thing about Bray Trotz. Again, it's the system that's worked so well for him. And one random thing, if we're gonna talk about Bray Trotz and what he looks like, doesn't he look like the detective, or the doctor, Dr. Loomis from Halloween?
Yes, he looks like what's the actor's name? Sorry, I know who exactly you're talking about.
I'm looking for the actor right now.
Yeah, that's really annoying me. But you're right. He does look like he's about to scream about a darkness, a monster and scaring off a bunch of kids away from it. Oh man, that's a great character.
Is that Braden Point in this series?
Maybe. I mean, Braden Point has just been wicked good. So is Scott May. Like, listen, plus minus is kind of like plus minus. However, Scott Mayfield is Curtin Mayfield. I went to my high school was called Mayfield. How did I mess that up? Plus 11 to lead the playoffs right now. That's a guy though. Now that's more than, again, number one in the league. That's higher up than McDonough, who was plus 9. Hedman, who I'm pretty sure is hurt, by the way. And there's one thing with Tampa: if Victor Hedman's not healthy, look what happened against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Another guy with the Islanders that's just like, man, we all know about the big guys like Pulak and that, Nick Leddy, and it's like young guys like Dobson are all right. And it's just Mayfield comes out of nowhere, and you're like, man, God damn it, the Islanders. You know what's kind of funny is, so they announced the Coach of the Year candidates, and it's like, okay, you know what the joke is? It's like, all right, we expected you to be bad, and you weren't this year. And it's like Quinville for the Panthers, which you're like, okay, yeah, that's fair. We didn't know what they were going to be. Dean Evison from the Wild, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah. No one knew what the Wild were going to be. That's fair. And then there's Rod Brindamore. You're like, okay, see, like, that's weird because we knew the Canes were going to be good. I'm pretty sure Barry Trotz has been a nominee or one for the past few years. And I feel like the only reason he's not this year is because everyone realized that the Islanders were good. Because, like, think about it. Like, where's Jared Bednar and Pete DeBoer here? Like, where's the respect here? Like, people were talking about Sheldon Keefe, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, obviously, playoffs. These are for the regular season. You look at how far Toronto were in the North. Like, where are the respect for good coaches in this league? Like, Barry Trotz, I'm going to look at how many Jack Adams he has quickly because the man is criminally underrated.
I kind of agree with that because, like, it's surprising that it always has to be kind of those situations where you have the coach that, he took a team and it's like, like that underdog ragtag type of persona that has to be there for him to be nominated. It's never always like, John Cooper did not win it, or like I agree with that too, like with Pete DeBoer, where he's been able to do with Vegas, or even for his own career too, like he really rejuvenated everything after the Sharks.
I have the definition of the Jack Adams Award up, and I think it's the way that it's worded.
Okay.
So it's worded National Hockey League coach adjudged to have contributed the most to his team's success. Like, to me, that literally sounds like the definition of, well, we expected you to be bad, but you were good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know
it's
what
not
you mean.
who was the best coach in the NHL. It's like, well, here, this is the definition. And it's like, okay, well, you want it to be bad, but you weren't. And I think it's the way it's worded.
But who thought Carolina was going to be bad? By the way, Barry Trotz had 2 Jack Adams. That's it.
Yeah.
What? Who expected Carolina to be bad?
No, I think that one.
Not the draw being like the line being drawn. Like no, but Carolina are good.
I think that was more that they actually finished first in the division. I know that we expected Tampa Bay not to be as dominant because they didn't have Kucherov, but I still think a lot of people expected them to finish first in the division.
So, and I'm not arguing with you obviously here. So let's talk about so the voters go with that. Okay. Winning the division, and it was a good division. You beat Tampa, obviously. But how about the 2 teams who finished first and second in Colorado and Vegas?
Well, we expect them. I agree with you. No, I definitely agree with you.
There's the problem, though.
I think it's the way that, in my opinion, I think it's the way the award is defined.
By the way, another problem here. If Joe Quenneville, let's say you could say probably Rod Brindamore should get the Jack Adams of those nominee. I still think it should be Bednar DeBoer. If Quenneville were to win this Jack Adams, it would only be his second. Like, you just have to think of it like that. Is the Coach of the Year award, Quenneville has won it once. And what's he, third all-time or second all-time in wins now? Behind Scotty Bowman?
Wow. What was the year he won it?
It was in 1999-2000.
Sorry, that's when Joel Quenneville won it?
Oh, yeah, for the Avalanche, right?
Oh, my God.
That was St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis. Okay.
They lost in the first round. They were 51-19-7. Not ever during his time, winning 3 cups in 6 years.
Well, yeah, okay. Alex, that fits the narrative where, like, they weren't expected to
That's ridiculous. That is
go all the way. And then I think, that was Chris Pronger. He won his first Norris that year.
Whatever. Awards are really, really crappy. We should also probably mention while we're here, the Hart Trophy has been announced. The finalists, McKinnon, McDavid, McMatthews. No, it's just Matthews. But all the M's, they're here. And I mean, it's McDavid's. It
really should be, yeah.
If he doesn't win, if there is anyone who gives us a first place vote to anyone other than him, I mean, this is the one that the riders vote for. Their credentials should be removed. Absolutely, just get out of here. If anyone else votes for anyone but McDavid.
I'll tell you a funny story. So for the National League Cy Young Award for like the best pitcher in the National League, they had to do everything online, right? Last year,
right?
And there used to be a guy named Ryan Tepera. He was a pitcher on the Blue Jays, but he's on the Cubs, and he's like a relief pitcher. He plays like 1 inning at most. And he got a first place vote. And people are like, wait, what the heck? And then I think it was like an older writer or something that said his hand slipped when he was submitting his votes.
Oh, man. Just figure it out, NHL. Don't make it complicated. Just beat the MVPs. Anyway, let's just get it out the way. It's McDavid's award, and if he doesn't win it, then.
But I'm excited Matthews got the nomination.
Well, yeah, when you score 40 goals in a shortened season, you should probably get in there.
Yeah.
It is very dumb, by the way, that this again speaks to how dumb it is that the Ted Lindsay and that there are 2 MVP trophies, and again, just that. It was McDavid and Matthews, obviously, for the Ted Lindsay as well, but instead of McKinnon, it was Crosby. And again, we have a disconnect here. And it's just like, I hate it every year and how everyone made a big deal when Ted Lindsay died. It was like, oh, the award means so much. And it's still like this gap is coming again from it. Oh, figure it out, NHL. And this is on the writers as well. This is on them. This is 100% on them. I can't wait to see Norris ballots, by the way. I think it's going to be so interesting this year. Speaking of defensemen, by the way, in the Norris Trophy, Owen Power must be a fan of the show. He was telling NHL, I think it was NHL Now, to show on the network, that apparently he is leaning towards going back to school for next season. Nothing confirmed yet, however. The expected first overall pick, and I think, Daniel, you mentioned this would be the first time since Eric Johnson that the first overall pick wouldn't come straight to the NHL.
Yes, since 2006.
That's wicked.
And we always have to remind ourselves Eric Johnson went first overall.
Yes, we don't forget about it.
Especially when you look at the picks after him.
Why? What is it?
It was like Jordan Stahl, Jonathan Taves, Nicholas Backstrom, Phil Kessel.
Oh, wow.
And then Claude Giroux was like, this when he was really good. Like he went in the 20s.
Yeah, and they didn't know his name, right?
No, yeah, they didn't know his name.
Oh, that's brutal.
That was the year the Leafs took Yuri Taluski, 13th overall.
That's a name.
But like they did really well on like all the later picks. It was like Reimer, Korbinian, Holzer, Leo Komarov.
Oh, was that the year like every one of their picks made the NHL?
Yeah, Nikolai Kulemin also in that draft.
That's not a bad draft.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not a bad draft.
They just didn't hit in the first round. But everything else was good.
Yeah. Not bad. Okay. We should also probably look. Let's actually turn back the clock for a second and look back at Colorado.
And then we'll go back to the future.
And then and then we'll talk about the future head coach in Columbus. The Colorado Avalanche lose in 6. And I saw everyone going on about how great this series was. I did not like the way Colorado played at all after game 1.
No.
I thought even when they won game 2 in overtime, I thought, man, this is not. If they don't pick it up, Vegas are going to have this series, and they did. But the big question is now, and we can laugh at the Adrian Dater stuff because that might be the worst question I've ever seen asked in media, and how he probably should just worn it on the chin instead of making. Imagine trying to have a ripoff against Pete Blackburn. You're not going to win that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like before we get to like Colorado, I didn't understand like if you say like a bad question, I just leave it and move on. Like this is what they, I'm not gonna get into Twitter wars with anybody.
Yeah, I mean that's
it just made it worse. Just like I don't know. That's how things become viral. You know what I mean? Or this is how the memes start.
So for those of you who don't know, after the Avs were eliminated, Nathan MacKinnon was being interviewed, doing his media and all that. I think it was the second last question was from Adrian Dater. This is the same guy I remember seeing reports that he thought the Avs were interested in Thomas Tatar at the deadline last year. And then like it was going to be Graves, and they were interested in Petrie as well, all that stuff, remember? Mm-hmm. When like Bergevin had no intention of trading anyone. And
he was in Colorado, right? Was it him or was it Scott
it was him and Scott Mellanby. But like his daughter goes to school there. By the way, can we talk about in retrospect how smart it was that Bergevin never traded those guys? Anyway, nice. It worked. It was close to not working, but it worked. Anyway, so Adrian Dater asked Nathan MacKinnon this question. And it was like, when you play Scramble and you just kind of dump out all the bits and like all the letters and it just seems to be a pile of just incoherent nonsense. And it's like, skip it up a lot. And like, there may be one random word that sort of comes out of it and makes sense. That was his question. He swore in it, which is like, whatever, but it was a complete nonsense question. Like Nathan MacKinnon's reaction was just like, what is going on here? And everyone ripped him because, of course, you were going to get ripped because it was a bad question. Everyone asked bad questions, though. So Pete Blackburn, who is like, I'd say like, you can't say the actual word, but he's that kind of guy that stirs the pot, right? So he posted it on on Twitter. He's a really funny guy, Pete Blackburn, by the way. And Adrian Dater just went full out. I'm gonna get the thread up now.
The Brad Marchand of Twitter.
And it's funny enough because he is a Bruins fan. He is also very short, and he's a big fan of Cole Caulfield. So Pete Blackburn. While I get it up, though, guys, give me your thoughts on Colorado and the way they basically played in those last few games, and how Nathan MacKinnon has lost the title of best player in the world because he has.
That was fast.
Well, yeah, keep going back and forth on that.
Daniel,
I swear, like less than a month ago, we had an episode that said MacKinnon was greater than McDavid.
I'm pretty sure we did less than a month. Yeah.
I feel like I definitely pushed that, but we won't talk about that. Delete the tape on that, please.
Delete the tape. Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it was really disappointing that I normally, with me, I normally go for the underdogs with things, but it's just the way Colorado's been built throughout the years that for me, like when I think about Tampa and what they've gone through, I'm like, I thought Colorado was already on that same trajectory where they've built the team that they needed. They know their core, they know the supporting players. They finally got goaltending, and they had that big meltdown last year with Dallas. That's something that they could learn from. And what did they do in the offseason? They got Brandon Saad and they got Devon Taves. And for me now, I just don't know what the excuse would be. It's like a lot of people would say, oh, it's because Kadri really affected that depth. But like the way that team was deep, how deep that team was, and the way they've been able to deal with injuries the last 2 years, I really feel like there was no excuses this time where the way Colorado performed. And now I think this year would have been their prime opportunity to really go for it, because we don't know what they're going to do now in the expansion draft, whether or not they're going to protect someone, whether or not they're going to do the, I'll give you these assets to not touch this person now. And it's just going to be it's going to be uncertain. They're still going to do really well. But when Nathan McKinnon said, I haven't won SHIT in 9 years, I felt that. I really felt that this is a guy that has been really patient with the team. He's gone through like the Matt Duchene dilemma. He's gone through like Ryan O'Reilly not wanting to be there. He's gone through Paul Stastny. He's like, I'm taking more money in St. Louis, and he's still stuck through it. And now we finally see like he's frustrated. He wants to win.
Don't you just love it when a player actually sees what's wrong and it's like, yeah, I haven't done anything. Accountability is a hell of a thing, isn't it? So I actually have the audio here from the Dater question if you want me to play it. We might have to censor the part when he says F it, but I can play that, then I can read the rest of the thread if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, right. Cool. So here is Nathan. He just check out the YouTube portion if you want to see the clip of it. This is great stuff. Okay, screen share. Okay. Doopity doop.
Dave, I know you're a gamer and all this, and I'm just thinking maybe out loud as far as in your shoes right now. It's like, all right, we've done all the thinking we can do, we've done all the game planning we can do. Maybe just we'll just go in next year and just not think it anymore and just win this thing when we don't think so much. Is that good? Am I on the right path at all with this? Like maybe this guys think a little too much.
Last one here for Nathan. Unexpecters.
The way McKinnon he's really like, was I just asked that question? So here's the thread. So Pete just puts a video up and just says LMAO, right? Then Data responds by saying, okay, thanks, tweet for the lesson in online decorum. And then Pete responds with like,
we'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live. And he says, I mean, your question was literally this. Then Dater goes back to him and says, fair enough, just talking like hockey people talk. Sorry if it's too sensitive for your ears. Then Pete says, yeah, you're right. Nate seemed to get it. And then Dater goes back at him again and says, you're right, Pete. I forgot you're the best beat writer in hockey. Oh, wait. Just forgot you've never been a beat writer, never covered a team day to day. Now, gentlemen, I have watched a lot of media conferences in my day. I think we all have. I have never seen any beat writers ever ask that sort of question in that sort of way. Like, people stumble over their words. It happens all the time, right? That's the way it is. We do it on the show all the time.
Happens once an episode.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That segment, it has given me confidence to never be afraid in media scrums again to formulate my question. That used to be my biggest fear when it's like, okay, who is the next question? And then I would be on the spot. I don't know. This has I have no fear.
Well, the big problem is if you just keep the question short and simple, it's good. But what Adrian, it's that famous Michael Scott thing, right? Of like, I'm going to start it, but he has no idea how he's going to finish the question. And it was like a snowball falling down. It just kept going and going. It was just.
Because I wasn't entirely sure what the question was. So, like,
the gamer part really confused me. Like, It's like you're just gonna go for it. Like,
So are you gonna win next year?
Yeah, I mean, I hope. Like,
yeah.
what, like is that? I don't know what the right answer is for that question, other than I hope.
I really feel for the guy, but again, it's just like you can't win with the whole Twitter stuff. You can't.
No.
He has a reputation, apparently.
Yeah.
Dater too. So he's not. We don't like poking fun of media, but Adrian Dater's maybe not a guy you give the benefit of the doubt to. Kind of like Jeremy Roenick.
Yeah.
Anyway, you talk about what's next for Colorado, by the way. I have up here some of their notable RFAs and UFAs. No offense, I don't care about their fourth line center. I don't. So these are their notable RFAs. Tyson Jost, who I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded because it feels like there is always talk about that. And Cale Makar, who is a Norris Trophy finalist. That's pretty good. Meanwhile, their notable UFAs, Carl Soderberg, who seems to just always be there somehow.
They came back.
Yeah, it's like when Vanek always got moved to the deadline. It's like, yeah, so does Carl Soderberg, and it's always to Colorado. Brandon Saad, and the big one is their captain, Gabriel Landeskog. You can throw Pierre-Edouard Bellemare if you want, but...
And Philip Grubauer.
Yes! Oh, and
money
the moment I complimented him about the way he tracks the puck, he turned into a pumpkin. It was not great.
We should stop complimenting people on this this show. It is really backfiring a lot.
Mark Stone is the best player in the NHL. Forget about offensive talent. It's all about the shutdown ability. You don't need the fastest skater. You're the takeaway monster of the league. Mark Stone is going to be an amazing player versus the Montreal Canadiens. I can just feel it right now.
Let's see what happens.
I sure hope so. I think the big question is, if Landeskog comes back, I think that strikes out the possibility of Brandon Saad coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Cale Makar is in this weird scenario because at the same time, there are two very notable offensive defensemen who are also up this year, a.k.a. Quentin Hughes and Miro Heiskanen.
All from the same. No. Just Heiskanen and Makar, same draft.
But all very, because Hughes was from the Kotkaniemi Svechnikov.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention the first overall pick in Deline there. It's Buffalo, how you doing? Anyway, there's a lot of questions with Colorado. That's a lot of money. Like, I think they have, it's $19.7 million in projected. I stole this because I knew Alex was going to mention it. So I'm like, I got to get the projected cap room up there. You could imagine, like, if it's a shorter term deal, it's still going to be around $6 million. That's a Makar. Could you see Landeskog getting $7 million? I could. He's pretty important. And then there's quick math, about $6 million, $5 million left in there for everyone else. Yeah, they needed to win, guys. It was the all-in year. This was it. They got Taves before the season started. They got Brandon Saad for nothing, by the way. They still had their first, which is pretty funny. But this was the best year they were going to have for a little bit.
And they're going to lose a piece to Seattle unless they spend assets, which I can't see Joe Sakic doing.
And in that conversation about money, again, I forgot Philip Grubauer.
Like, on paper, they've drafted so well that they're going to be able to replenish the depth, but it's not going to be like to the same extent where you have these guys who have made it before, these guys that have gone far, like Belmar or a Brandon Saad. And like, for me, that's going to help maybe in the future and in terms of the current cap situation, but it's not going to help them to take that step forward where they really feel that, you know, the way this team is built, you have to go for it every year.
They're going to win the division next year. They're going to win the Central. Like, that's not the question. It's just, it's Vegas's conference now. We talked about it. The Western Conference belongs to the Vegas Golden Knights now.
And until the Wild rise again.
Sure. You can throw it in there. I mean, great. Like, who else is in there in the Pacific that's going to be much of a mess? It's Vegas and
Edmonton.
Yeah, they realigned everything, right?
If Edmonton decide to do something.
Yeah, Edmonton. I mean, like, think about it. Like, if you think of the West, it's like St. Louis aren't the same anymore.
Yeah.
The Kings are still not going to be contenders next year. If they're a little better, you wouldn't be surprised. But the Ducks are a question mark in every facet of life except the goaltending. I don't know. It's still like Colorado still have an open field. It's just they're going to look mostly the same next year. I think it's just you had the luxury to maybe, and I don't know, maybe this whole thing of taking less will come into effect for the rest of the team, but we'll see.
Yeah, you're kind of right, Adam. Like it's Vegas, Colorado in the West, and then like in the Pacific, it's going to be Vegas, Vancouver, Seattle, San Jose, Los Angeles, Edmonton, Calgary, Anaheim.
Say that again. Like list the whole Western Conference.
All right, so it's going to be in the Pacific. It's going to be Vegas, Vancouver, Seattle, San Jose, Los Angeles, Edmonton.
One at a time. Let's go one at a time. Okay.
Okay.
So Vegas,
okay, Vancouver.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Vancouver, great.
Seattle.
Who knows? But we'll be safe and say not great.
San Jose.
Bad.
Los Angeles.
On the up, but still bad.
Edmonton.
On the up and up, but they need a supporting cast and they can't fix, and they're probably going to lose a defenseman. Whatever. They'll make the playoffs maybe, but they won't do anything, as we saw against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of bad.
Yeah. Calgary.
Bad.
Anaheim. Bad.
Bad.
Yeah. Okay, so for the Central, it's Winnipeg.
Who are bad.
St. Louis.
Who just got swept by Colorado like it was nothing.
Nashville.
Who are questionable bad too. Who knows what they are. Their centermen aren't getting any better. So mediocre. We'll say St. Louis and think you're mediocre.
Okay. Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
They could win second in the Central. I can see that. Okay.
Probably. Dallas.
Oh, getting older, man. Bishop and Khudobin are old and injury prone. Jamie Benn isn't a contributor anymore. Sagan, like, who knows how good he is anymore. Radulov's getting older, but like, if they won a divisional spot, I could see it, but like, they're not a threat as the other guys are anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken a lot this year. I think they've taken a lot of damage.
Right. Colorado.
Good. They're good.
Yeah.
Not the best, but they're good.
And then Chicago.
On the up and up. They're the same as LA. They're on the up and up, but I mean, Duncan Keith's another year older.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's up with Jonathan Taves?
Yeah, I really hope he's okay.
And what's their defense? What's Adam Bogfist?
Adam Boqvist, like, Nikolai Baudin.
Yeah, like what are Baudin and Bogfist like now? But I still say they're in better straits than some other team. They're mediocre. I could kind of look at. They're not bad. But see, who did we say was definitely good? It's Minnesota.
Oh, we forgot one more.
Arizona.
The last team in the Central, because they got moved for Seattle, is Arizona.
Who are bad. There's 3 good teams in the West. And then they're all crap or mediocre. So they're going to make it. So Vegas, let's be honest. There's a real chance that the Avalanche have a free walk to the conference finals. But this is the problem they face now, is we already knew the regular season didn't mean anything. Colorado are now at the point where the first 2 rounds don't matter. They're now Washington. That's where they are now.
Is the NHL basketball now?
I mean,
which is the flip. It's the flip because this year, like 3 out of the more than half of the teams who are in the second round have never won a championship in the NBA.
It doesn't look great, man. It doesn't look great. And then, I mean, in the East, the Metro's fascinating because it's like I see good teams, but how many can win? Because Pittsburgh and Washington have a lot of questions in the East right now. Columbus too. They're going to go on a different stage of that franchise because they're losing good players. Yeah. They named Brad Larson head coach. Now he signed a 3-year deal. He's been behind the bench and as assistant for I believe it was 7 years. Here's an interesting quote from Aaron Portzline's article in The Athletic about the hire. Quote, other NHL clubs with head coaching vacancies contacted the Blue Jackets for permission to interview Larson. Blue Jackets president of hockey ops, John Davidson, said, but they were turned away because Columbus didn't want him to go. Apparently there's also a phrase of the money that he won't command as much. apparently there is a word of this guy is kind of what you would want in this city. He reminds me of DJ Smith the way he's talked about. He's probably good with the younger guys. Probably not. You kind of it was like, okay, Babcock was good for a certain part of it and maybe building a culture, but it was going to be Keefe's team, right? I wonder if that's sort of the thing here with Larson. I'm not gonna lie, I've never really heard of the guy before he got hired. But it's not a surprise that they went with a maybe unknown, homegrown / cheap coach, knowing that the Jackets are going to. I mean, they're trading Seth Jones by the end of the summer. We know that. And
they finally kept talent. They brought back talent in Brad Larson. They actually kept someone in house.
That is true. They couldn't do that before. To me, this tells me the direction they're moving in is probably towards a rebuild.
Yeah.
Like the same as in Buffalo, looking at they're probably going to end up, or it seems like they're going to end up bringing back Don Granato because he was, again, worked with the younger guys, and it seemed towards the end of the season, not great, but better than
18-game losing streak.
Right. Better than that. And I think that's kind of the same thing here is you want a guy who literally what DJ Smith did with the Ottawa Senators. If you can get that, and I think that's a great starting point.
Mm-hmm. Well, we joked about it. Daniel, they've lost defensemen, they've lost forwards. Hal Tortorella wanted to leave, and he finally got the chance. They got Brad Larson. I don't want to discredit the guy. It takes an amount of work to be an NHL head coach, but
yeah, it's messy. It's going to be really messy because they still have so many contracts that they have to kind of deal with and realize we sign these guys long term, and we don't know if it's that same vision anymore. Where you brought back those quote unquote Tortorella guys and gave them money. You gave a Gustav Nyquist money. You gave Oscar Bjorkstrand, a Cam Atkinson, these types of terms, and it's going to be a weird kind of team where to navigate, what are we going to even get for these guys, or what are the draft picks we are going to get, and whether or not when they're good, if they're going to stay.
I think a big question is by the time the Blue Jackets, in their mind, I imagine they're competitive again. I don't know what Cam Atkinson's body is going to look like. I'll defend the Bjorkstrand deal and Nyquist because I thought those were really good players. What was that famous thing when Nyquist got signed and he was going to penalty kill? And it's that's weird. Why you're a good penalty killer. Why weren't you ever on it before? And he's bad coaches. And it's where did he play? Oh, with Detroit and Babcock. Oh, that's not great. He wasn't Luke Glendening, so he wasn't allowed to play on the penalty kill.
He wasn't Darren Helm.
He was not the king of the IR, as they call him, Darren Helm. God, Detroit. Oh, thank God that Yzerman's there. They're kind of good, but I think that's a big question now is what's really weird. Apparently, there's also a quote about the veteran players were very much involved with this hiring. It's kind of okay, all right, okay. Oh, okay, that's good to know.
It's
sparks,
just odd.
yeah.
That's odd to me. I don't know. That just feels weird.
For me, Columbus, there's those sparks of promise they always have. The exception always they going all in with the deadline, but there's always those sparks of a new hope. There's the Gavrikov, there is the Texier, not Patrick Laine. There's some stuff going there. Igor Chinnikov just won Rookie of the Year in the MHL. So, there is promise.
Is that the guy they drafted in the first round and no one knew who he was?
Yeah, no one knew who it was because he played in he played in the MHL, which is the junior league in Russia, but he played for a team that doesn't really get a lot of coverage either. So it's just not a lot of scouts sent him out. And then he was ranked because teams just didn't know where to put him. So apparently he was ranked in the 6th round and then other people just didn't rank him at all.
That's one of the best TV moments of the draft I've ever seen.
That's the first time I saw Brian Brick stumble.
And then Elliot's everyone here just looked. No one knew what Fuda didn't know what was going on. God, why did we live stream the draft? Why did we do that? I think
it's a memory.
Yeah, it was a bad one. Anyway,
shout out to Mike's coworker.
I don't know about that. I don't think we give a shout out to that stream ever again. No.
I just okay, just one thing that I love when we're streaming, and then we're talking, analyzing like each pick, and the guy's like, "I think the goalie's gonna come up next." He said that like 5 times.
I mean, Nashville, attaboy, Askarov. I can't wait until we find out that Owen Power isn't actually Owen Power, and he's like Owen Power because we always get those names.
You always get the names wrong.
Yeah, and it's so annoying. We've ranted about this before. For 3 years, it was Askarov, it was Romanov, and then it's like no, Skarov or Romanov. Like this was your one job, guys. We don't like. You think fans are right away like, oh great, oh my god, shut that. No, we want to know how to say their damn names. Yeah. You know how much you're an idiot I felt like after saying Romanov for like 6 months. Get it right. Like, just is it so hard to just ask a guy like, how do you say your name?
I'd say Timu Salami when I was a little kid.
Yeah, but he's Finnish, so you could it's probably that. It's probably like Senani. And like Forsberg is Forsberg. It's like, what is this? Doesn't make any sense. God,
random story on that, because I used to always just get the McDonald's cards, and I think like I think my dad got them before I started liking hockey, so he just gave them to me. And one of the first cards was Solani on the Mighty Ducks. And you know how shocked where I was when I like realized, because around the time I was started watching hockey more, he was on Colorado. I'm like, wait, what? He's not on the Ducks.
God, my knee hurts. Okay, we'll go get surgery. 90 points. God, hockey players are weird. Speaking of surgery and probably questioning playoff players, yeah. So Tuukka Rask, it broke last show that he had a torn labrum. I don't think any of us knew what that meant at the time. Turns out it's something in his hip, and he's out until January or February of next year. So listen, goalies and hips are pretty. Was it Kari Lettinen who got a bunch of those surgeries? And then Pulja Harvey had one. He's a skater, obviously, but it was a bit different there, and it messed him up for a bit.
Yeah, he had double hip surgery.
Yeah,
like, hips down for a goalie. Pretty important.
Yeah.
So apparently he made it very clear. This is the exact quote. I'm not going to play for anybody else but the Bruins. This is our home. And he referenced that all 3 of his kids are in school there. You know, he's a little older. He's a goalie, so it's weird.
He's not going to honor his original draft position.
Listen, I wonder now, and this applies maybe because it's the Bruins. Like, they could say, like, nah, we don't want you anymore. Maybe Tuukka wants to spite them. And who better to spite going back to the Atlantic Division than, oh, hey, Toronto, you want another goalie? Because right now Hutchinson looks to be the backup, and that's not going to work. Even though I'm a huge proponent of it for obvious reasons.
I'm going to miss Big Save Dave.
No.
Yeah, I forgot he was the lead.
No.
Oh, God. Anyway, I wonder now, if you're a team, do you even bother signing him until the new year then? Like, not quite the same as Justin Williams, because that was just old guy rest, bring you in at the deadline. But, like, do you see him even getting signed until the season starts?
I could, if they have a good medical facility or trading facility.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, or else, what are you gonna do? And he also has to want to come. Like, I can see him, if Boston says, yeah, we don't want you, I could fully just see him retiring.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of been up in question, like rumblings that he was willing, like he kind of wanted to retire after this contract. I think that came out of like the bubble from last year, but the bubble was also an absolute mess for him, like just for multiple reasons. So
how dare you leave to go look after your kid, you selfish teammate?
Yeah.
Oh, some fans are unbelievable.
But
it's gonna put Boston in a bigger hole, I think, because they still have those 2 promising young goalies in like Swayman and Vladar, but it's again,
we're not calling
Blader.
it
Sorry.
It's Blader, like Darth Blader. Stop it.
Sorry, I was watching the game. They said his name like that. But I don't know. Like, it's what I've said with Colorado is, yeah, it's gonna be solid guys you put in there, but it's gonna be a step back for a team that's trying to go for it. And I don't know, with Rask, like, it's either like, yeah, it's probably going to wait to see what his future is going to be after the surgery, maybe even a month after the surgery or more. And another thing too, it might be like he gets signed by a team, might not be the Bruins, and it's like he goes in there knowing he's just going to be that veteran like backup where they're probably still going to have like carry another goal. Like it's not going to, it will be similar to the Lundqvist one, but we'll see.
Which is exactly why he should sign in Toronto. Just saying.
Oh my gosh. Like,
just looking at some of the UFA goaltenders as of right now, we can have a quick little chat about who the Leafs should probably look at. The top one is obviously Tuukka. So let's just say, argument's sake, that he goes back to Boston or he retires into the sunset. Pekka Rinne, older. He had a 907 this year, not terrible. There's Frederik Andersen. Does he come back?
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
yeah, for
Like
discount.
an evergreen contracts. Because, like, I wonder. No, he was bad. No, he shouldn't come back. I know he was hurt, but Steve was bad. Devin Dubnyk.
No.
I don't know if I feel like there were teams who were going to outbid them on Ranta.
Probably.
Igor, no, again, that's it. That's an RFA. I put in UFAs. What the hell? Reimer?
I could see them visiting that, but it's
I'm not going to try. I don't know. Like, for me, I feel like Reimer and Campbell are the same.
That's
in terms of like caliber. Yeah, and like caliber and like the guy you bring in to be a 1B.
You're not very high on Campbell, are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it's just okay. I'm not being mean about it because I love the guy. Well, I've come to love the guy. I didn't really like him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, in the World Juniors, I didn't really like him. But I think it's just the way I know goalies take a while, but it's just he's had so many surgeries already, and really like he's almost 30, and this is the first year that he really got to be a starter in a shortened season, and
He was good.
he was good. But
Really good.
the thing is, like, in terms of when it goes back to 82 games, and I think about the workload, there has to still be like a really capable backup for him, or he's the capable backup to like another starter.
minus all mark.
He's almost on the list. Grubauer, I don't. That's a lot of money.
Hot take: he takes the discount and goes to Toronto.
He's also probably, if I'm Colorado, I am bringing him back like instantly.
Yeah, Mrazek. If you want to talk about injury, maybe be careful because he played 6 games in the regular season and then was not
Playoffs
amazing.
somehow.
Yeah. Bernier.
I'm a proponent of bringing Bernier back.
Bring him
I've said
back.
it on the show before.
Guy had a 914 this year. What? We're never going to entertain Carter Hutton and David Rittich. And the last one on the list is actually Linus Ullmark. Halak's down there, but he's old. He's
I
off.
know-
Fizzled.
I know they visited the Linus Allmark trade.
Yeah.
I think Friedman talked about it either in the blog or on the podcast or whatever. I could see them doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Like,
It's or like the only thing that I think could stop that happening is Buffalo completely overpay him, and it's like, hey there, you like Jeff Skinner's contract? We'll give you the goalie version of it because we're bad.
but I wonder, for me, I wonder if they're going in the we're tearing this down direction, which at the moment it seems like it. Are you going to overpay to keep Linus Allmark?
That's true. Dustin Tokarski plays 70 games.
You gotta block Ukko-Pekka. You need Puka-Luke. You gotta have a guy, even if you want to start Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen,
Yeah.
you need a guy in front of him. Like he can't
Yeah.
be the front guy, and like goaltending can take you a long way. Again, if I'm Buffalo, they can't firestorm again because they're in this situation because they firestormed. Like they got in trouble because they sold every goalie, as Jeff Merrick said, who made a save the year they got Eichel, and they're not even going to have Eichel next year. I don't know, like. I feel like maybe it would be easier to overpay him if you didn't frickin' overpay Jeff Skinner to the moon. I don't know. He's an option. And then, like, let's be honest, at the same time, do the Leafs want to go into free agency and pay that, or would they rather maybe look at a trade option? It's the thing we've always talked about with Kyle Dubas is, you expect the unexpected. If there's a name we're hearing, yeah, it might be an option, but it's more about the guys we never hear about, and Jack Campbell was the perfect example of that.
Jake Muzzin was like his first big trade was Jake Muzzin, and I don't think anyone talked about Jake Muzzin as an option.
I think that's everything. Everyone open Twitter. See what's going on. Shout out to the Euros, by the way. Is that what they're called?
Yes, sir.
England, they beat Croatia.
Oh, 2 years ago today, the Raptors became the 2019 NBA champions.
Do you guys know it's E3, right?
I do know it's E3, yes.
I'm kind of disappointed that the only thing I've seen is a Mario game and there's some DLC for Fallout 76. Where is the Lego Star Wars update? Where is the second Jedi Fallen Order update? I'm looking at them. Where are they? Where are they, damn it? Where's more trailers about Horizon Forbidden West? Where are they? I don't care about Mario. I don't care about Rainbow Six. Where is my Lego news, damn it?
Oh yeah, Xbox confirmed Halo Infinite is set for holiday 2021.
Holiday? It was supposed to come on autumn. Now they're saying what, Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they want to get all the money because, oh great, it's not like Halo's going to sell anyway because it's Halo.
Smart.
You delayed the game another year to make it right, and now you're going to push it back to get more money? How dare you? Who is it that has them? Who has them the Halo rights now? Because it's not.
It's Microsoft.
It's Microsoft's, isn't it?
Yeah, no, not by that. I mean, like the developers. It's 343, right?
Yeah, 343 Industries.
Bring back Bungie, damn it.
No, they're too focused on Destiny.
Yeah, that's a great success, isn't it? Yeah, people love Destiny. I played the first one. I'm like, this is trash. I can't play this. There's no story.
Completely unrelated, but did you guys happen to watch the YouTubers versus TikTokers?
I just saw updates on Twitter.
Oh, it was brutal.
Wait. What is this?
So last night you know how now there's celebrity boxing?
Unfortunately, I do.
Yeah. So they've now taken it a step further. So they've done this YouTubers versus TikToks event last night where they boxed. Well, what if that's what you want to call it? It was like borderline WWE to me. It was like it was brutal. Like some of it was funny to watch because it's just like the storylines is like, what are we doing here, guys? Like this is, I think I tweeted it last night. I'm like, what's the difference between this and WWE? Like, I don't know. I can't tell you.
Is this where we are now?
We are, yes.
Yeah.
Thinking about these things.
This all started with KSI versus Logan Paul. And this is what it's turned into.
Oh my gosh.
I remember the days when, there used to be a YouTube Rewind and like I knew everyone. Like there's Jenna Marbles, there were the Slow Mo guys, there's PewDiePie, there's Jacksepticeye, there's Smosh.
Simpler times.
There's like, yeah, and now it's like, I miss the simple old days of YouTube. Oh, there's Captain Sparkles. Here are the days before every Minecraft YouTuber was a pedophile. They're good now, but like there was that weird stretch where it was like, oh, it was bad. It was really bad.
Oh.
It was a thing. It's a whole thing. Look at the
scary.
line.
That's actually scary.
It is because it's like it's a kid. Like everyone plays Minecraft, but it was like I was a kid when that came out, right? Or when it really started booming on the consoles. So you think about like all those people, their audience are children.
Yeah.
And it was messy, man. YouTube is a weird place. Like, man, remember PewDiePie and how he messed everything up because he was showing stuff when he should not have shown it. And he took no accountability and probably lost so many people so much money with how they've messed up YouTube now. And
not as weird as Twitter.
I mean, Twitter is just if Twitter's a cesspool, then like YouTube's the sewer drain itself. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And to end the show, Daniel, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about Vimy Ridge?
Oh my.
Vimy Ridge?
We're doing
Yes.
it. Why?
Because I've surprised you with the history corner. We're ripping off Steve Dangle more and more.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know what Vimy Ridge. It was
Well, can you tell me about the Roman Empire?
Okay. Which part of the Roman Empire do you want to know about?
What do you know about Hadrian's Wall?
Oh, that was like what is it, present day Yugoslavia now? Well, not Yugoslavia. No, what am I
I thought it was
saying?
in like England.
Wait. Hold on.
Hadrian's Wall, the one that like goes.
Oh yeah, that was the one there. I got it now. Yeah. Sorry, I got confused. There's another wall. Yeah, Hadrian's Wall. It was against like, wouldn't they do it against like the Germanic or like not Germanic, like a lot of like the other like the Saxons to separate them to like, and it's like in Brampton, UK.
Man, you ever notice there's a lot of places here in like North, like especially in Canada, where it's just like it's just named after England and that. Are
Yeah.
we this lazy?
My high school's on New Westminster Drive.
Man, but, there's some weird names in the UK, like Piccadilly. Who named something Piccadilly? Who is this? Who made this decision?
I remember the head of the intelligence in World War II was like Kim Philby. Or there's a guy named like Husbands Phillips.
It's either there was husband Kimmel, who was the head of Pearl Harbor. Like, who names their kid husband?
I know there used to be a reporter, I think, on CNN named Stone Phillips.
That's a pretty sick name, actually.
Stone Phillips.
Nice to meet you. My name is Stone. You're hired. That's a
I remember
sick
I
name.
was talking to my sister recently. I was like, have you ever met someone who's young named Dolores?
Umbridge.
No, I
Dolores.
never, like there's a couple names that are like that. Like I've never met someone who's young person whose name is Bob.
Yeah, or I could never, like, if a kid's name is Anthony, I could never call him Tony until he's like at least 30.
If your name's Anthony and you call yourself Tony, then like, what are you doing? There's no.
Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah. Look at Tony. Yeah, great person,
Tony
Tony.
Stark.
Noted
Stark.
humanitarian. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, noted real person, Tony Stark. It's like
No,
if
he didn't know where he was selling his weapons to. Remember in the movie, fueling both sides.
Yeah, great, Tony. I was gonna say something, I've forgotten it though. Like, no, yeah. So, but then, like, it's funny. The three of us have timeless names. Like, Adam fits in everyone. Alex and Daniel. Like, we have like a triforce of basic names. No offense to our mothers who named us those names.
Powerful.
I have
names,
great
as
pride
they
in
say.
being named Adam. There's a good story. But
You guys
I'm
have
just
middle
saying,
names?
What?
You guys have middle names?
I have two.
What's your middle name?
Peter and Christian.
No way.
Yeah, I have the three whitest names on the planet. Adam, Peter, and Christian.
What about Alex?
My middle name is Jerry.
Jerry?
Jerry. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Alex Jerry Hanimian.
Yeah.
See, that's what's weird. Alex, I mean, no, so Daniel, what do you have a middle name?
Michael.
Like, okay, so
Oh,
let's
yeah,
just-
Michael.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have your socials. So Alex Jerry, Adam Peter Christian, Daniel Michael, and then our last name is just like what, Centeno, Hanimian, and Flujay? Like,
Yeah.
what? We have like the most like obscure last names too. What is it, Daniel? What's the origin of your last name again?
It's like Spanish.
So Spanish, Armenian, and English. I know. No, my last name's Egyptian.
But the thing is,
What is this?
in high school, because everybody just said Santino.
Like Santino.
'Cause
Like
I grew up with a lot of
That is who I first thought of too. Okay, that's who I
everybody.
first thought of.
Everybody like in high school, everybody thought my last name was Italian.
Santino.
Is it Santino or Centeno?
How do you get Santino?
Centeno.
There's no I in it. It's
I don't know.
on that note, we should probably end.
Okay.
Thank you as always. If you're still listening, if you are, then how'd you put up with that? Yeah, that's everything. If you enjoyed the show, check out all the social medias, including the shows and our personal ones. Facebook's a big thing. TikTok is also a big thing. Be sure to check out that TikTok. Voice said, thank you as always. Great platform. Daniel, check out his eye opener stuff. And Hockey Writers. Check out Alex's blog, my YouTube channel. There's nothing new because the Habs haven't played because the NHL suck at scheduling. But I think that's everything. Rate the show on iTunes and Spotify's lame. Alex, anything else?
I don't think so.
We'll be back with game one.
Yeah.
With a couple
Reactions.
games. Couple games.
Couple games reactions.
Who's winning tonight or this afternoon? Carolina. No, they're bad now. No, they're not. Tampa or the Islanders? Who's winning game?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
I'm
5-2.
I'm gonna go with the New York Islanders by a score of 3-2. Anthony Cirelli will have the game-winning goal. I don't even know if he's playing. I'm assuming he is, and I'm just.
You said Islanders 3-2, and Anthony Cirelli has the game-winning goal.
I meant Anthony Beauvillier.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Close enough.
goodbye.